citrine for that ass. Breathe that in. With this stirring up. In the background, I have the 417 hertz on. I'm Sarah Richardson. I'm a cheerleader for the divine. And I mix it up because I'm a cheerleader for the divine, and then I stay up on my hoe shit. Heaven on earth, baby. Heaven on earth. You know, I remember one time hearing heaven on earth and being like, ugh, yeah, right. Cheers. Cheers. If you're in that place where when you think heaven on earth, you think, yeah, right. It's a journey. It goes up and down. It's wild how words change when we change. Changing words. Words changing. Certain words you don't want to say. Then if you feel like you say them, they're wrong. Or there's a lot of judgment sometimes behind a lot of words. There's a lot of judgment behind the word hoe, right? And it's like, when I say that I be up on my hoe shit, now everyone's like, oh. What? It's an attention grabber, right? But they're not thinking that I mean heaven on earth. Nope. Not at all. They're thinking that I mean the old programs of the shame for a woman for doing sometimes the exact same thing that men do. What? The shame. So today is sacral chakra focused, right? 417 hertz. The womb space right underneath the belly button. I didn't always love this space. Getting better every day. Thank you to love, right? So, you know, guys, with this womb space, a lot of people can't feel sexy with the things that they carry inside of their womb space. It's very hard for them to feel sexy or sensual, right? And a lot of this goes into the words, you know, like I just said, I say I'm on my hoe shit, and everybody has their own program and definition of it, when here, to me, now it's heaven on earth, right? When I took my hoe tendencies, I'm Sarah Richardson and I'm a recovering hoe, right? I've been there, done that, everything that everybody does in real life, right? I didn't know about my sex space. I didn't know about my womb space. I didn't know about the power inside of me. I didn't know how special sex and orgasms and feeling sexy was. I didn't know any of that. I was just out here. I was just out here doing what I thought everybody else was doing, what I thought I should be doing. I didn't have any kind of connection to myself, right? And so when I say that the word hoe means heaven on earth to me, that means that through me feeling like a hoe, feeling like I had to feel like a hoe and take that to God, right? Here's all my hoe tendencies, help me out, right? That's when I really learned about the power within me. That's really when I learned that the shadows of me, that the shame of me, that the fear of me, that the guilt in me really made me who I was. It was all of that. It was what I showed people and what I never showed anybody. All of that made me who I was, right? And so, like I say, we're energy, frequency, vibration. So even with no words, we're giving off vibrations. What is the vibration you're giving off? A lot of people are paying a lot of attention to the vibrations that others are giving off, right? And they think that that's empathic and all of those things, right? Pay attention to the vibration that you're giving off. right? That was my lesson today with love. That was my deep, 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 deep lesson today. Pay attention to your vibration. It's not always, the situation is not always as it appears in your eyes. I'm telling you, man. I just went super deep today and I'm thankful, right? Because we get all these healing tools, right? And then we do some healing work. And then we get the choice to integrate what we've done into our actual life. And that part sometimes can be hard, right? So, I'm telling you guys, just like I keep saying, it's like I feel like I just woke up 5 minutes ago. So I've been going through this hard time for a couple months, right? It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. My go-to is to push things away, right? And I know that that's a lot of people's go-to because I talk about this, right? Because if we just push it away and we get busy doing what we're doing, then we don't have to deal with the uncomfortable stuff, right? But I knew that pushing it away wasn't working, so I decided to hold it all on my lap and just hold it, right? Felt like shit about it, was in my nerves about it, all kind of things. But you really have to nurture yourself in your anger. You really have to nurture yourself when you feel abandoned by other people, when you feel like all the bad feelings that are out there, whatever they are, when you're in any of those bad feelings, it has to be you that nurtures yourself, right? It's deep. Man, it's fucking deep. Cheers. If you're nurturing yourself, I love you. I love you. And I talked about at the very beginning that this womb space being off, and it makes you not be able to be vulnerable because you can't even be vulnerable with love. So how are you going to be vulnerable with other people? You can't even be vulnerable with your own self. That's what's in this womb, right? There's a lot of judgment that's in that womb. There's a lot of judgment that we carried down from our ancestors. Like our ancestors were judged for things that maybe we never even knew about. And we carry that in our wombs. There's a lot of shame in the womb. There's a lot of guilt in the womb. There's a lot of feeling of sin or, fear or the discouragement of feeling sexy and sensual. I give so much love out to these womb spaces out here because I see them and I see that they're all churned up and I feel it in my womb space, right? And I know a lot of people don't understand, and I try to make it funny and I try to talk about it as good as I can, but let's release all of this shit in our womb spaces in the name of love, please. And how do you release it? When you're feeling like you're in those darker energies, when you're feeling like you're in those lower energies, learn how to nurture you there. And so some people say, okay, Sarah, how do you learn how to nurture you there? I'm going to tell you what I do. And I seriously, want to tell you it took me a long time to incorporate it into my life, right? So I take the situation that's going on right now in my life, and I just did this morning, right? And I've had the tools for a couple of years. And so I close my eyes and I take a few deep breaths and I put my hand on my heart and I ask love to show me where this energy that's coming up right now in my present moment affected me as a child, that made me stuck as a child. And it's wild. It is wild where your heart and your imagination will take you, and how much time and patience with yourself it takes to learn to trust where that's taking you. Because we don't trust people. We are a whole entire society of people that doesn't trust anybody, by all means, right? But how do we get from not trusting everybody and having our hearts closed off and having our heart's desires blocked off to living the life that we want to live? or that our heart desires to live. How do we get from there to there? It's just like baby steps, guys, right? So, you can just ask love to help you release anything that's in your womb that's holding you back from your highest and greatest self, because the womb holds us back. When we're stuck in these inner child bitch fits type energies, there's nothing that can move you. There's nothing that works. The only thing that works is to do this stuff that seems so far-fetched. I know it seems so far-fetched. I thought it was far-fetched too. But when I actually take the tools that I've learned and I use it and I trust it, just like that, it changed the game and the energy. I felt it, and it's amazing. It's amazing what goes on. And, maybe you might need a little bit of coaching or help to learn how to do this, because it's not the norm. Going and sitting with your inner child, that's not what our parents were teaching us. They did not know this. They did not know about this, right? Trust me and believe me that if they did, they would have done it too, because they would have done anything for us, for you. That's just what happens to parents. But what happens is, the trauma in the womb space makes the disconnected parent. The trauma in the womb space, the hurt in the womb space, the pain in the womb space makes the chaos and the avoidance of the chaos. And what I'm asking everybody to do is to nestle into the chaos and find peace in that, and see how to sift through that. It takes time and it takes patience. We can definitely rise up. We can definitely rise up from the pain, right? But we need to love us. So the self-love has to go up. For you to rise up, self-love has to go up. And you can do self-love however you want to. Just do it. Don't just do it for you. Do it in the times where you need it. If you need some kind of ideas or something, message me, right? It has to be something that you love. To rise up, you have to fill yourself up. And you don't have to fill yourself up with outside things. It's an inside thing. Outside things help, but it's an inside thing. We're all learning right now that we are meant for so much more than what we've been doing, right? And so when you've been plugging along on the way and doing all the things and all that stuff, sometimes that can be like, what have I been doing this whole time? But it's a leveling up, because what happens is as the vibration lifts on the planet, we as humans within ourselves have to level up too. That's what's happening. I've been just sitting back trying to find the clarity for me. And it's funny because this thing that I did today, I've had this tool for a really long time and it never worked. And then today, not only did it work, but it worked in a way that I feel so grateful for. In a way that it was like a surprise. There was a surprise in there. It was a good surprise, right? We need to nurture our inner child. I mean, how many of you have kids, right? And so when you're mad and the kid's mad and you guys are just sitting there fighting, how does that work out for you? It's funny. My daughter just gave me this little analogy this morning. How does that work out for you? When you're sitting there trying to fight with your kids, how's it working out? How are you handling it? Are you handling it like your parents handled you? How'd that work? But you don't maybe know how, right? So, one thing you can do is, stop and just ask your baby, how do you feel? Why are you yelling? What are you feeling? This morning my baby said, I feel like you're always rushing me in the morning. She's slow as molasses. Oh, I mean, I do. I feel like I'm rushing her too. Mm. Guys, listen, we're purging, we're releasing guilt, we're releasing sadness, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We're just releasing. As the vibration raises, it's just release. You know, you get to the point where it's like, do I have anything left to release? And then it's like, yep. Here's something else, right? But, um, you know, we gotta love ourselves. We really have to love ourselves because that is the only way that we're gonna feel refreshed. So I've been talking to a lot of people, and it's funny because they all say a very similar thing that they're like running on empty, running on E, no gas left. That's how a lot of people are feeling. Stop for a minute if you're feeling like that and fill up your cup. Say to yourself, I can fill up my own cup. I just need to know it's okay to stop for a second. I know it's okay to stop for a second. We came here to rise together, guys. So there's a lot of like bashing around and shit like that going on. And I send so much love, and it's coming from the fucking womb space. You know, the anger's in the womb space, the sex is in the womb space, the money, the kids, the feelings, the secrets, the shadows, the old pain, guilt, thick, heavy. You know, another really touchy subject that came up this today, and it came up this week too. You know, people with worries about making it to heaven. I send love, man. This used to be a deep fear of mine. I think that's maybe why it's coming back up to show me. You know, guys, I believe that heaven and earth are within us. Right? I believe that heaven and hell are within us. I believe that in order to get to heaven, you need to go through hell. I believe earth is hell. There's a lot of sad stuff that goes on here. There's a lot of heavy. It's beautiful, right? Crazy beautiful. But there's a lot of hurt here. And I believe that to get to the heaven from the hurt, we must nurture the hurt. You know, my nephew and I had a long talk about this one day, and it was, you know, first he brought up heaven. Do you believe in heaven? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, do you believe in hell? And I'm like, yes. I said, do you? He's like, yes. And I said, well, what do you think about it? And he was like, well, you know, I feel like heaven is where you go when you're good, and hell is where you go when you're bad, right? Program. We're not even religious, and it's in him, right? I was like, oh, yeah, you know, I definitely heard about that. But, you know, who do you think goes to hell? And who gets to go to heaven? How do we know that? So we know, Rora, the good people go to heaven and the bad people go to hell. And I'm like, okay, well, what makes someone bad? He said, you know, the people that kill other people or kill themselves. I'm like, okay. So you mean to tell me that if somebody is sad enough to commit suicide, that God, love, is going to put them in eternal fire, damnation for the rest of their lives? And he just looked at me. I was like, buddy, I don't believe that. I believe that killers and people that commit suicide, I believe they need more love from God than anybody out here. And I believe that, you know, earth is the place that we come to get these chances to do these things that we need to do to get to where we're going. But it's funny though, because whenever I'm in my hard times, I can see the bad, right? Right? When I'm in my feelings, I'm not so level headed as that conversation, right? So don't be so worried about making it to heaven that you forget that you can create heaven on earth for yourself, within yourself, in your world. You can create a little piece of heaven in the chaos, and you can live it. And whatever vibration that you vibrate at, that's who you're going to fuck with. That's who's going to be there. There's a lot of distractions out there. And it's okay if you get distracted and then you notice, get back on track. It's all right. It's all right. You know, our shadows are all down in the root and the sacral, you know. And our shadows are what make us beautiful, guys. The things that are the pains and the traumas that our ancestors went through, that's why we have the passions that we have inside of us. That's why we get these internal sparks to do these things that we're like, what? Cheers to the way love works out, because I've spent a long time trying to figure out love. And it's really hard to figure out. But in the meditation that I did today, I really got to like the root of what I was talking to you guys about yesterday, my aggression. And it goes deep, and I don't know really if it's like fixed because the test hasn't come in yet. Fear knocked me a little bit off track today, so I went into avoidance. But avoidance and that aggression, they're a little different, right? Aggression's a little harsh and mean. Avoidance is just like, I'm not doing it. But when we get to know our shadow and the darkness in us, then we really start to see others a little bit differently in theirs. We start to have a lot more respect and honor when we see someone that we love that's facing their shadow times, right? And so that's what makes this also special, and that's what makes these new special collaborations feel so good, because you know, now I have friends and we sit with our shadows. We talk about our shadows. We, you know, we learn how to make jokes about our shadows, right? We embrace that. We know that that makes us us. You know, I got called aggressive, and it was like a kick in the stomach, right? It's happened 100 times before, I said in my video yesterday. And you know, a lot of times in this time, I've been learning to be more bold and to be more outgoing, right? Because I used to hold all that back, right? So it's okay to be bold and outgoing, outspoken, to speak what's in your heart, to say it at the top of your lungs, at the top of the mountain, at the top of everything, right? It's good to do that. However, it's important to be nice. It's important to be nice. So, you know, a lot of people are like, fuck that, you had every right to be aggressive, blah, 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 blah. No, it's important to be nice. I was going beyond bold. I was going beyond outgoing. I was being mean. I was in fear, straight fear, and I was being mean as fuck. And that's where my meditation took me today. To that root of that. That's in me, that's in my inner child, and that's in my baby. That's in my mom, that's in my grandma, that's in my cousins, that's in every one of us, right? But it's not like this judgmental place that you go, like this court, right? When you go into your heart, with your inner child and everything, it's not like that. You can make it peaceful and comfortable and soft and cozy and comfort and everything you want it to be. It's a safe meeting place. It's a safe healing place. It's inside you. You don't have to do it with anybody else. You can just sit there and do it with yourself. If you know how. If you don't know how, you have to learn, and then you can do it yourself. Many people are afraid of their own power. And I totally get that. I was afraid of my own power for a long time. It seemed like, when my power would kick up, like, good, it wouldn't be good. And then that's funny, too, because I had a really cool friend message me today, something about pride. And that the pride in them, it didn't always work out for them. And I'm like, all right, let's see. We're on these words. Let me look up pride, right? And so pride was, I think I wrote it later on in here. Deep pleasure or satisfaction. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I just did this whole entire womb, inner child meditation. Pride. Oh, he said pride was a dangerous weapon. It keeps us in an ignorant state of mind. His pride, he feels like, kept him in an ignorant state of mind. Now he's healing, right? And so I love people that are healing. And I don't ever think I know better than anybody or anything out here. And I love healing conversations. So basically, ignorant state of mind is a lack of knowledge, right? But pride is deep pleasure or satisfaction. And I'm trying to explain to the world that we're supposed to feel pleasure. We're supposed to feel satisfaction without feeling guilt and shame associated with it. We're supposed to feel sexy. We're supposed to feel powerful. We're supposed to feel beautiful, smart, funny. We're supposed to feel all these things. Right? Who doesn't want to feel satisfied in their life? But you know what the opposite of pride is? And this is how I always go. Polarity is a motherfucker. The opposite of pride is shame. Right? All right, so, you know me. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I've been trying for my whole life to get out of shame. To get out of the shame that I didn't know how to treat myself good enough in sex. To get out of the shame that no matter how long I've been learning this lesson, I'm still fucking up. To get out of the shame of, creating a baby where there is no love in this space and then having to go forward and deal with this, right? I've been in my shame for so fucking long that I need a little bit of fucking pride in my life. I need a little bit of fucking pride because shame is the bottom of the fucking barrel. It sucks in shame. In shame, you are your biggest judgment. Like, bitch, you ain't going to heaven, you're a fucking hoe. You can't get this shit right in here. What do you mean about it? So, you know what I said to him? I think that we need a middle. A moderation. Because I think that we need a little bit of pride if we're deep in shame. And I feel like if we're too prideful, we need to touch down into our shame so we can find a middle. I don't think pride is bad. I think pride in a way where, you're rude and not kind to people, that's not what we're looking for, right? But shame is not good either. So guys, let's say a couple affirmations real quick. You can say them to yourself. You can sing them in your house. You can type them in here, right? I radiate health and vitality. I radiate health and vitality. Mwah. say it, write it, sing it, yes. Let's get it spinning. I am full of inspiration. I am full of love. I can do anything I set my mind to. To get positive changes, we have to make positive changes in our lives, right? So if you want a big positive change on the outside of your life, you can even just make a simple positive change on the inside of your life. Like, I'm going to drink a little bit more water, or I'm going to spend a little bit more time journaling or something, right? Get to know the darker side of yourself. Do not be afraid to show your shadow self. And if you are afraid to show your shadow self, sit with it for a while. You know, some people say, Sarah, I can't believe that you talk about the things that you talk about. I'm like, sit with your shadows for a while. You'll be able to talk about yours too. It feels good. You know, for a long time, my career was kind of trapped. It felt stuck. And then as I've been learning my shadow self and incorporating that piece of me into my career, now it's doing much better. Still building, right? It helps us to get into our hearts better. When we can get into our shadows, and when we can learn to nurture and love our shadows, then it's easier to really, truly, fully be in the heart, right? And it's a process. You know, it helps us to be able to imagine our heart's desires more, right? So when we're in the shame and we're avoiding the shame, we're avoiding what we love too. And so as we go into the shame and as we love and nurture on the shame, then we love and nurture on what we want too. You know, there are a lot of us who are learning right now, how to work better with other people, right? Because this anger in the womb and this guardedness in the heart, it makes you even afraid to collaborate sometimes. You know, this trust issue thing that everyone has, it makes it really hard. You know, being guarded up keeps us very isolated. You never know. You know, it could be your season for isolation, and I respect that. But it could be your season to shine too. And so, you know, if you're in your season to shine and you're still guarded up on your heart, it's all right. Just work on your shadows. If you're guarded up in your heart, if you're blocking out love, if you're blocking out people, if you're blocking out love, go in your shadows. I don't know. Turn on the 417 hertz. Write it out. How do you feel about being sexy? Write that out. Ask questions about it. Spend some time with your inner child about it. I love you guys. People need other people. People really need other people. You know, guys, a lot of people are feeling really bad right now. So if anybody comes up in your mind or anything, send them love, because right now people need each other. And the people that look like they have it the most together really need people like the most. Everyone has such an important part here. Say, affirm, type it, sing it. I have an important part here in this life. I have an important part here in this life. Say that. As you nurture your shadows and spend time with your shadows, you start to value life a little bit more, different. You start to see your worth a little bit more, your usefulness, how you add in your unique spark. I have a unique spark that needs to be seen. Write it. Sing it. Say it. The more you learn to value yourself, the more you start to feel you are important, you are worthy, the more you can do that for other people. We have power in us, guys. Great power, I'm telling you. to create the life that is in our hearts. It just takes work. Lots of self-love. Put love in your food, put love in your water, put love on your bed, put love when you clean your dishes, put love when you wash your clothes, put love when you clean your house, put love when you send messages. I'm telling you, the flow of love is everywhere and inside of us. And when you tap into that, then you start to attract people that have like similar values, similar compassion levels, similar unconditional love beliefs, mutual respect and appreciation, energy flow, the give and receive, right? And sometimes we can fall off track from that. That's all right. Love yourself when you're down in the mud and then get back up. Say to yourself, affirm to yourself, I am meeting all kind of people with similar visions. Type it, sing it, say it. I am meeting all kind of people with similar visions. I trust my relationship with self. I trust my relationship with love. I know one thing, when we're saying it, we don't always mean it, but we just got to keep pumping ourselves with it. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. I got these cards if anybody wants one. The Chosen Ones, 144. This is from Maji the Priestess. I fucking love her. Love her, love her, love her, love her, love her. She's the one that got me on my affirmations way more. I used to be up on them. But I got off for a while. And I love her. She said, God hires me who can fire me. And I fucking love that. You know, her energy really helped me pull myself up. So if anybody wants one, they're good. I love you guys. I know womb work is hard. I know it's easier to avoid it than it is to go there. I know it's really some like top secret shit we got to talk about in there. You know? I know it's a lot. And we have to learn how to express what's in us, or it's going to just keep coming out wrong. You know, I love you guys because we're all connected. As I learn to love the hurt in me, I know that the hurt in you is something very special to you. For you. I know that, you know, there's times where that hurt in you can make you feel like you just don't even want to be here anymore. And I send love. So much love. I know it's so hard. It'll push you to every fucking edge. Edges you didn't even know were there. Go down a little bit and fall a little bit closer. You know what I mean? Shit. I love you guys. You know, if you're feeling low and you really don't know what to do, write affirmations. Stick them on your mirror. Stick them in your car. Stick them on your refrigerator. Stick them on your stove. Whatever you're doing the most, stick them on your work computer. We have to affirm. There's a lot of energy going on out here, guys. I really do believe that it is something going on, you know, with the heavy and the light. Like a war kind of, where I think, you know, how do we have to nurture the war in us. You have a big mission on Earth. You're a big fucking deal. You're a big deal. Sometimes people think that certain people aren't really that big of a deal, like they're a bigger deal. You're a big deal. Lucid dreams. You might be having some kind of dreams or something in your life of why you're a big deal and what you're here to do. Synchronicities, 222, 333, 444, 555. You might be seeing them, guys. When I see those things, that's God telling me, you know, that I'm going the right way, or maybe I need to step back a little bit, right? When I see them like this, it's going the right way. Or maybe, you know, that I'm focusing on something and I need to focus on something else or something. You know, it's special to you. And, you know, the synchronicities, they're not all the same for everybody. So somebody might see 333 and think one thing, and somebody might see 333 and just know it's something else. And neither one of them are wrong. That's their spirit. Let them have that. The more work you do on your womb, the more you won't care what anyone is doing in their lane. You'll stay in your own lane a lot easier. And then even in your own lane, you realize you have a lot of fucking work to do in there. Any more cards here? You know, I know a lot of people told us what God was and what we're supposed to be afraid of, what we're supposed to do and not do. All that shit is off track, guys. Divine protection and intervention. You know, I love this because this is what I feel with my connection. I've never done my connection with God any kind of way that anybody else does anything. And sometimes I got some tips and tricks off people, and sometimes I got sidetracked, right? And I fully 100% believe that the divine is protecting us at all times. At all times. And sometimes when we fall down and we scratch our knees and stuff like that, we needed it. That's the intervention. When the bad things happen in our lives, when the hurt and pain comes up in our lives, that's the intervention moment. And it doesn't mean like bomb squad someone's house like the TV show intervention, right? The intervention I'm talking about is an intervention. Taking what happened with you in your heart, with you and God, and being like, all right, how do I fix this? Divine intervention. Heart space intervention. You don't feel attacked. You feel nurtured. You know, even just look at that intervention. They make us feel so bad about people intervening and loving us, right? God intervenes. It's not in a slime ball way. You're protected. I love Maji. These cards are fire. Give us a color. If anyone wants one for them. I can't see any comments. I don't know if anybody said anything. It's been glitching out. Evil family members. I said a lot of love. I know, you know, evil family members. These fucking words, right? I know a lot of people are dealing with an undertone of darkness in their families, right? And we it doesn't feel so loving, right? A lot of this evil in the family is what's in the womb. That evil family member, that anger, that jealousy, that competitive, that back scratching behind your back, that evil family member stuff, we're divinely protected from that. And a lot of time that evil family member stuff is a divine intervention, right? And so I said in my video yesterday that we have to set standards in our lives, right? When you're in this self-love, you start to set standards for yourself, right? And so sometimes in your standards for yourself, you cut some people out of your life, right? That's divine intervention. Doesn't feel that great, right? Not like the words, right? But sometimes when the divine intervenes and we can cut that in a healthy way, and we can set our standards, and this is what it is, and we can still be unconditional love, and it is what it is, right? And we can let them go live on their way. And then sometimes what happens is they want to come back. They go and they raise their vibration, and then they come back and they meet you at your standards. Work with crystals. Some people need to work with crystals. I love my crystals. Work with the ones you want. Don't just work with any crystal that anybody tells you. You need to feel the crystal, get to know the crystal, This one is one of my favorite little gems. I got her in Florida, maybe. Citrine for the womb. Some of you do need to work with crystals, maybe to get an understanding a little bit better. I don't know. I wasn't too big on crystals. I'm still not right now. I have a lot of friends who really love them. But they do help. I do grid my house with crystals in my bedrooms. And it does feel different. For sure. Divinely protected. Do not worry. Do not worry. When you worry, go in and find out why you're worrying. Find out with yourself what made you worry as a child. Nurture that. You know, we were afraid a lot as young children that our needs weren't going to be met. And so sometimes we can carry that into our adulthood. And we're the ones providing for the needs. We know they're met. It happens to the best of us, family. Let's do any more, because I'm about to go get some food after this. One more spin. I love you guys. I love you guys. I know this stuff is really hard. DNA upgrading. That's the lift and vibration. So as this lifts the vibration, our DNA, like from a cellular level, we're upgrading. So as you, like I said, as you upgrade your vibration, as you upgrade, as your DNA upgrades, you release physically the energy, right? Because it's getting higher in vibration. Dream messages. Somebody's really a dreamer. Somebody's really getting a lot of signs and dreams. I don't dream, so that's definitely for you guys. Somebody's getting signs and dreams and maybe not trusting them, and that's okay. You know, ask your heart about them. Ask love. What do these dreams mean? Spell work. You might be going through something where you feel like someone's putting some type of spell work on you. Just put up some protection. You know, you really have to get into knowing that you're divinely protected through this bullshit fuckery out here, because this is some bullshit fuckery that is going down in the name of love out here. There's a lot of these people out here that are sitting there not in their lane, worried about you. And why do people worry about you? Because you're a big fucking deal, right? So if anyone's talking bad about you or putting any kind of bad energy to you, know in your fucking heart of hearts that that's going to go back to them and teach them what they need to know. Trust me. And if you're anybody doing spell work out here, may your fucking tongue be binded up. You know, if you don't have kindness, then just shut it. Nobody has that shit to do. You were born to be a legend. I'm going to leave it at this, guys. You were born to be a fucking legend. I really, truly do believe that, right? No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, you do deserve to be a legend. You know, your story is legendary. The pain that you've been through, the hurt that you've been through, the process and the journey of healing those things, it's magical. It's magical how the pain takes us to the passion. It's magical how being vulnerable helps. You know? Being in the middle. I love you guys because we're all connected. One love.